Hey, what is going on there, Guardians? Evade here, and today I have a pretty interesting video discussing various secrets and mysteries in the upcoming Forsaken expansion. We'll discuss things like what exactly the Scorn are, Petra's impact on the story, and how Variks is going to make his return.
Prepare the feed across all open channels.
Attention, Guardians. This is Petra Venge of the Awoken Royal Guard. Multiple bounties have been issued on key fallen targets. The reef is now open to you.
Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an amazing day or night, and let's get right into this video. So around E3, Bungie had an interview with Heavy.com where they discussed a bunch of interesting information. In the article, it talks about things like the Scorn, the Queen's Return, Variks, and tons more. So let's discuss what the Bungie devs had to say, and then we'll dive deeper into some of the lore behind it. So first, let's talk about the Scorn. So in the article they ask, like, what's up with the Scorn, who are they, how did they get to this position? So Scott Taylor said this: early on in the campaign you learn that yes, they are working together, and there he's talking about Aldrin and the Scorn. What appears to be at first a prison riot is a prison break. They do have larger goals than just killing Cade. Aldrin especially is looking to achieve something. So that's pretty interesting considering the Aftermath card where he crash landed on Mars. When he did, he got up, his crows were around him, and he said something went missing and he needed to find it. Now, we don't know what this means. It could be his sister, she went missing during the Battle of Saturn. That could be pretty obvious, but then again, it could be something completely different. The next question was, is there a specific house these Fallen reside under, or are they from different factions? So here's the answer for that. These are a part of what we are calling the Scorn. They are reanimated. They've died many times and have been resurrected. They were Fallen at one point, but they have changed into something else. I don't believe they are affiliated with any house. Is that right? And then Barrett says, yup, they are a new faction, a new group called the Scorn. They have been resurrected. Think of them as fallen zombies, fallen undead, that kind of thing. So they're going to be pretty terrifying. They have a lot of new abilities and gameplay that we haven't seen from the other Fallen. So that's pretty interesting. They're not affiliated with any Fallen house, which we'll talk about in a second here. So as stated, the Scorn are Fallen, yes, but they are completely different from anything we've seen before. Now take a look at this image, for example. These Fallen are reanimated zombies that were brought back to life by some type of force. Now we're not exactly sure what this is yet, something resurrected them obviously, but they do look pretty freaking crazy. Now it seems the Scorn are not affiliated with any Fallen house, which is interesting considering the beginning of the story. We know there is a giant escape in the Prison of Elders, right, where the Scorn are breaking out and Aldrin is setting them free to work alongside him. Now that's how I read it from what Taylor said. He says what appears to be at first a prison riot is a prison break, so I would assume the Scorn are breaking out of the prison. Now the other option, I guess, could be, were they allies before this whole attack and orchestrated this together? Now I think it's more likely the first option, but then that makes me wonder how Aldrin, orchestrated this all by himself. So just some speculation, but maybe the House of Kings helped Aldrin break out the Scorn, or the Scorn could be a variant of the House of Kings in my opinion, but that's not even confirmed. As you know, Aldrin met with the House of Kings, but we obviously don't see them anywhere. Bungie could be saving that, could be a big part of the story, but what if Aldrin performed some sort of dark ritual where it turned these kings into these zombie fallen Scorn? Now, I'm not sure about that, but that's pretty interesting. That was the big question I had. Are these Scorn in the prison? Is Aldrin breaking them out? And if so, did he do that by himself? In this concept image right here, we see a bunch of these Scorn barons, and then Aldrin in the middle in the back there. Now, many of these creatures have, yellow colors on their armor, which could mean a relation to the House of Kings, but again, that's concept art. Regardless of all of that, all you need to know is that Aldrin and the Scorn are on the same side. I'm pretty sure you can bet your entire vault that Aldrin will be the main guy we're going after, but there's also going to be 8 barons, which adds to the mix. During this campaign, Bungie stated that you'll be able to play the story the way you want, and it's not linear. So an example of a linear campaign would be things like Halo Reach, where you start at one point, go all the way through to the end. So in Forsaken, you can go out there, take out certain barons before others, and play the game the way you want, which is actually pretty cool and something different. Say you don't have enough firepower for that baron, oh hey, it's fine. You can take out this guy right here, and then go after that dude in a little bit. The next question they had was, should we expect to see Petra, Variks, and Marasov return? Well, I'll tell you a couple of things. As you can see with the setting of the Reef and Prince Aldrin, we do not want to revisit this world that we've established before. Petra is absolutely a part of the action. She's actually a pretty integral part of the story. You're also going to learn what Variks is up to, but that's going to come in a form that you might not expect. As far as the Queen goes, I don't like to get involved in that family's affairs. The last person I know who did that I saw was recently shot. So I think I'm staying out of anything having to do with the Saw family and gossip. So that is definitely pretty interesting. We've seen Petra before, we'll talk about that. Marasov may return, she's a big character, that's not that surprising to me at least. But then he says you're going to learn what Variks is up to, but it's going to come in a form you might not expect. So is it something as big as he's turning against us, or is it just some way like you wouldn't expect to find him, in the campaign, like you come across him and then you meet him that way, you know what I'm saying? Some type of weird encounter, I guess. So it's kinda hard to tell because Variks was on our side, has been on our side throughout the first game, but it always seems kinda sketchy to me at least because he has some dialogue lines that felt out of place, and he could have just been kinda using us to rebuild his Fallen, Now that could be a long stretch, but let's take a look at some of his dialogue. He says quotes like this, "My service to the Queen is complicated, Guardian." Now that one doesn't really explain much, but a bunch of other quotes talk about how Variks wants to use parts of your ship, he wants to take apart your ghost, and things like that.
The great machine resides with your house. You think it will stay? Little ghost. Come out, come out. All these guardians here. Maybe I'll catch a ghost. Take it apart. Variks, in the end you choose the wrong side. Maybe today.
Some other warning signs can be seen from Petra herself with her dialogue line. She says, Variks has his uses, but be careful. He holds many alliances, too many. And lastly, this was Variks' plan? We should be cautious, but I have to admit he's been very helpful lately. So it seems even Petra was skeptical of Variks a little bit, but I hope he's still on our side in Forsaken. Let me know what you think down below. Is he going to betray us, or is this just a weird way we're going to meet him? Lastly, we have some more information on the friendly Fallen character that was seen in the first Vidoc. Now it seems this character right here is known as the Spider. This can be seen on various weapon tabs as well as his little chair clearly resembling a freaking spider. Previously we took a look at this clip right here where Petra and I think Zavala in the background have a conversation with the spider. With Bungie stating that Petra has a pretty big part of the story, it makes you wonder if she knows anything about this spider character. Petra isn't really new to Fallen alliances, she's dealt with this before with the House of Wolves and so on, so she could have some type of connection. Also, thinking about this character being a friendly Fallen, Variks and his connections bring a ton of theories to my head. Now you can't gather much information on this character's story with just these pictures and little clips here, but we do know that this guy messes with Ether just like a bunch of other Fallen in Destiny 2, and this comes from a description on a new weapon. So the description reads, "Control the supply, the spider." Now in Destiny 2 we know that purple Fallen house, we're looking for some ways to create ether and preserve it. An example was I think an adventure in EDZ where they were hiding it in certain containers and you had to go in there and stop all that madness. So the spider here has some of these same ideals. Control the ether supply, the Fallen need it, and I definitely do hope we learn more about this character in the future. Anyway Guardians, that's all I got for today's video. The Scorn are very different and it makes me wonder where the heck they came from or what caused those sort of resurrections, At this point this is pretty much all we know about the Scorn, all the information provided in this video, but I'm sure more of that will spill out in the coming weeks. Now there's always that quote where Lakshmi in the data mine audio mentions the House of Dusk worshipping the darkness, but again that wording isn't really confirmed in the game and then it could just be the purple Fallen anyway, so who knows what's going on with that whole situation. Be sure to tell me down below what other mysteries and lore videos would you like me to dive into in the future, And please like this video up if you enjoyed. Anyway, I'm Evade and I'll catch you Guardians in the next one.